It's a real honour to interview the 4 retirees tonight. It was a privilege to play alongside them for so long. And as we know, after the 2005 Premiership, the Swans didn't fall back to the pack. Pretty much every year for the next 13 years, the Swans endured. And these 4 are a key reason why the Swans didn't revert back to the mean. Like the AFL hoped for with equalisation, the Swans endured and stepped it up again and again each year. So Kieran and Macca were captains for a large portion of my career. It was a privilege to play under them, and equally with Nick Smith and Heath Grundy, it was a privilege of mine to have to run out each week and look after their opponents while they run around and got kicks. So could you please put your hands together for Nick Smith, Jared McVeigh and Kieran Jack.
Here's McVeigh in his first game. He won round the corner, was clever. Now McVeigh's got it. First game of Jared McVeigh.
Gives it to McVeigh. That's bending the right way. That's a goal. McVeigh's kicked the goal. Well done. That's got on the footing. Surely. Terrific tackle. Holding the ball. McVeigh gets a look at the goal. With a right foot banana. He's kicked it. One of the goals of the year. McVeigh's kicked one goal. There's the answer. Massive turnaround from centre wing. They've done it. What a team. That culture of Bloods. That's what it's all about.
And the Premiership Cup to Jared McVeigh and John Longo.
Yeah, it is a good story. He came as a forward. Struggled a bit early, didn't he? But look, he's become a Premier defender and terrific. Yeah, congratulations. You're a terrific bloke as well.
Malcheski lobbing it on the edge of the square. And Grundy, his first goal in the big league, and he drives it home. Grundy from 45 metres out slides it through. Number 39, Heath Grundy.
Rampy had good position. Oh, that's brilliant by Grundy. Well done, Grundy. As always, miserly. McAvoy. Oh, well done, Grundy.
He heads into the play. Nick Smith runs onto it. Game number 2. The young man will kick his first goal. For his first goal in AFL football, and he doesn't make a mistake.
Bell, can he kick a goal for the Blues? Smith, the tackle is fabulous.
Top of the square. Outstanding smother.
Petrarca with the fast hands. These need to be fast hands as well from Madison. He had it and he was bowled over. Gee, it was a good tackle.
Bruce is a clever footballer. He's a beauty. All those touched.
Smith was brilliant. Ones have got all the numbers, and Smith takes a really strong mark.
Huge kick this. Started nicely.
Bounce it back perfectly.
Number 40, Nick Smith. There's going to be an early taste of the action for Kieran Jack as well.
Inside the first minute, and Sydney get the opening goal, and it's Kieran Jack who comes up with his first in the AFL.
Look out. That's holding the ball. Oh, it was very close. Tackle Kieran Jack.
Floats a little left foot up as well, read by McGrath, but his fist only as far as Jack, who can line up and goal.
Great tackle from Jack. Kieran Jack with a suplex. Jack gets desperate over the shoulder. Kieran Jack.
Dropped. Still a jar. The goalkeeper got in the way. And Kieran Jack has set the standard again. To give them some breathing room. That's the way you do it around the corner. Kieran Jack.
Jack running onto it with Young. This is big. This is really big. It's a dead set, massive moment.
Who goes to McVeigh, who can play on and steady, and he does kick a goal in all 16 years in the AFL.
Boys, can you please make your way to the stage and put your hands together as they make their way to the stage. Jared McVeigh, Kieran Jack, and Nick Smith. And as they're making their way to the stage, I might address the elephant in the room, or the lack of elephant in the room, and that is there's no Heath Grundy. I was actually having a chat to Glenn Wheatley before, who's here in the room, John Farnham's manager, and John Farnham's actually furious with the amount of send-offs that Reg Grundy's had with this farewell that he's had over the course of the last 12 months. But in all seriousness, the amount of laps that Reg has been doing has taken a toll on his body. And with some back surgery, and he's actually had to go home. So with having had back surgery the last few days, so I'll send Reg a text and tell him how good he was, and we'll move on. Okay, so boys, thanks very much for coming up. Macca, I'd like to start off with you. There's a real class with Macca that's easy to spot, and I'm not just talking about his beloved Prada backpack. It's more than that. He has real class, so much so that some comment from time to time his resemblance to Hollywood actor Jason Statham. However, others also comment on his resemblance to Woogie from Something About Mary too. Anyway, either way, he's an absolute star. Macca, congratulations on your career. How do you reflect on 17 years as a Swan?
After those comments, not too kindly, Ted. No, it's been a wonderful ride. Ever since I was a young boy, I dreamed to be drafted, and to be drafted to, basically your home team, from the Central Coast, a couple of hours away, but to be drafted here and to live my dream and play AFL footy is what I always wanted to do, and it's the memories I've got, the friends I've got, my family over there, what they've done for me, and I'm so proud and so thankful to them and the people, our coaching staff, our players. It's truly humbling over the last month or so, the nice text messages and phone calls and letters I've received. It's been fantastic.
Okay, and moving along to you, Kieran. As Horst mentioned, you started your career driving the streets of Sydney in your Toyota Corolla looking for free Wi-Fi. To think that's where it all began, and haven't you developed and matured over the years? You now search for the free Wi-Fi in the Mercedes. Sorry, I should say Volkswagen. Kizza, on field, what sticks out to me is, and off field, just uncompromising. On field, we all see how uncompromising he was, but off field, he just famously put the car into neutral to drive down hills and save petrol. You were always dogged, ruthless with your opponents, and just uncompromising with petrol. Kizza, how proud are you of everything you achieved at the Sydney Swans?
Well, it's good to see you still milking jobs out of the club, by the way.
We don't need to cut that.
No, we will.
It's your last job, so be thankful.
And the Wi-Fi and the neutral, we're actually talking about this. It was Ramps was talking about his sob story about the rookie list, and I said, yeah, we've all been there, mate. And Macca goes, no, I was a first round draft pick, so it was pretty easy for me.
I had talent, though.
What was the question?
You've achieved so much over the course of your career. Anything that you'd like to reflect on? I guess that was the question. Coming off the rookie list, to be becoming a captain of the club, it's been an incredible ride.
For me, it was all opportunity. I think all I wanted as a young kid was an opportunity at an AFL club and an AFL level, and I got it. got a 1-year deal on the rookie list, and I just worked my ass off, and that was probably that's what held me in good stead for my whole career, was working hard, learning off the leaders that were there at the time, and just improving every year, and just not taking it for granted. I think that's the message that's been sent a little bit tonight with the young guys coming through. You've got an opportunity. It's a window there. It doesn't last forever, which is what we've all been a part of that now, and you just want to make the most of the time that you've got. We've got great resources at the club, but at the end of the day, it comes down to work ethic and how hard you're prepared to work. And I'm fortunate, I've been able to work with some of the hardest workers in the game, and we're able to do it together and endure a pretty special time together.
Smooch, we'll move along to you. For everyone that may not be aware, we call Nick the babysitter because he puts his opponent to sleep each week. Rarely was he ever beaten, but Smooch was actually beaten once in a Clio Bachelor of the Year competition where Smooch actually came second and was livid, absolutely livid. And he tormented the winner the whole night. It was a mental mess by the end of the night. But Smooch, which moments do you hold dearest to your heart over the course of your career?
What is this?
Answer the question.
12 years, 15 years, and you get roasted by Ted Richards when you finish.
I've put some time and effort into these questions.
This is garbage.
Answer the question.
What was the question?
Which moments do you hold dearest to your heart?
Moments I hold dearest. I reckon the games that meant the most to me. They're the ones I'll remember for the longest. Goodsy, when he didn't play against Adelaide. Llewellyn McVeigh down at Geelong. Remember Kiz's 200th, Mickey O's 300th, and then obviously the grand final as well. So the games that meant more than footy, I remember the most. And then as Kiz had talked before, when you're playing big finals away, and we talk about there's 22 of you versus 50,000. Thriving on the silence. There's nowhere where you rely more on your teammates than when you play away. And those feelings when you absolutely work your ass off and walk out as a team with a win, they're some of the best memories I have.
A good answer. I don't want to put a dampener on the night, but I feel like I need to.
You have already.
I feel like I need to touch on something, and that is, for those that may not be aware, that Smooch actually holds the record up to this point as to most games without receiving a Brownlow vote. And I want this tonight to be a celebration, but I need to touch on it. But what you may not be aware of, the Brownlow is actually pre-recorded, it's not live. And with some connections I've got, I was able to get a copy of the Brownlow recording, which was filmed actually a couple of nights ago. So I'm just going to show something that's going to be the Brownlow of 2019, and I request that please nothing on social media about this, because most of Australians think that the Brownlow is actually a live event. So if you please cast your attention to the closest big screen, I've got something to show you from the 2019 Brownlow Medal.
Round 17, Sydney v Carlton. Sydney L. Parker, 1 vote. Sydney L. Franklin, 2 votes. Sydney N. Smith, 3 votes.
Could you please put your hands together for Nick Smith and his 3 Brownlow votes in this year's Brownlow.
Did you play this year?
Just work with me. Okay, moving on from that. Kieran and Macca, how much it was an honour to lead the club as co-captains, in all seriousness?
Yeah, it was a huge honour. I still remember, sitting in the room with Horse and Macca when they first told me. It was it's a big responsibility, but it's a privilege. You know, you get in that position for a reason, and I just wanted to make sure that I did it to my utmost and gave the duty its due respect, and you know, I just wanted to, you know, do what I could for my teammates. That was what it's all about. Continue to drive standards, and for Macca, you know, fellow Pennant Hills boy, to do that with him was a special moment, special story. You know, there's no better feeling in football than coming in off the coin toss and you come into a huddle and you get to say a few words to your teammates. And it was something I didn't take for granted. It was really special and moments I'll never forget.
Yeah, I agree exactly with those comments. And you feel the energy of the group, and you're trying to gauge on how they're feeling, and you go from thinking about yourself before a game and what you need to do, and then it automatically there's a switch of, all right, what can I do for my teammate, and how can I make him better today, and what can I do to get the group up, or what moment can I produce in throughout the game, or think through the game to help us win the game. And that's something that I'll hold dear to my heart, and to be able to stand there with Horse on a grand final day to hold the Premiership Cup that we went to grand finals we all have as little boys and want to be up there, and to be able to do that will be the greatest moment in footy I've ever had, obviously.
Yeah, well, as playing under you as captains, and Smooch, I'm including you here, is your ability not to shy away from the awkward conversations with mates and ride players hard and demand more was something that really I think about. Moving on from that, marks of the year are such an exciting part of our game. And let's have a chat with, actually, we don't have two of the best step ladders here tonight. We've only got one, so Smooch, one of the best step ladders going around. What were some of your highlights along the way with so many marks of the year being taken on your shoulders? Unfortunately, Reg was here and he'd bring great insight to this discussion too, but we'll have to leave it with you, Smooch.
Yeah, what do I say, Ted?
They were from your floaters that you kicked out. The ball had to come back so quickly.
I wasn't allowed to kick out.
You couldn't handball either.
More of a problem was, and Andrew Pridham will attest to this, bit of a Krabitza, but he always said I used to keep the crowd involved more than anyone else because I kicked it out on the full all the time. So it wasn't necessarily the marks, but more that.
And Macca, Kizza, I just want to touch on round 23 and the fact that you both kicked a goal in that last game. Can you give us a bit of insight as to the emotion that you experienced? Because we could see the celebrations, and which was, I guess, well, I jumped out of my seat too. Can you just, I guess, give us a bit of insight as to what you were experiencing then?
I've never run forward so much in my life to try and get a goal, and saw little Paps get the ball, and I had a quick look around to see if I was free and noticed that, and I didn't want to yell too loudly in case my opponent heard, and then Paps' eyes lit up and he looked at me and then gave me a little kick, and was fortunate enough to get it through, and to feel the hugs of your teammates, and that moment will live with me for forever. It was a perfect ending.
And Kizza?
We did a piece for Swans TV sort of a week after it, and we were sort of reminiscing about it. And Macca spoke about that exact moment. And after he kicked his, I was like, all right, I've got to try and get one here. but I was playing back pocket. I was taking this bloke's role in the team. And it was Joey Kennedy actually said, he goes, mate, you've got to go forward. It was 10 minutes to go. So we were up by probably enough, but I said, no, mate, there's too many smalls down here. Like, we can't get one back. He goes, no, stuff it. He's like, stuff it. Just do it. So we threw Tommy McCartan down back on a 5'8" small forward. The sacrificial lamb, we call him. And yeah, I'd sort of, normally I'd sort of move up and slide and, you know, try and help my teammates out. Bud caused a turnover up on the middle of the ground, and I just sat at the back, just kept holding out the back, and they finally got it there. And there's a photo, I think we've probably all seen it, with 4 boys pointing to goal. So I looked up and it was pretty incredible because not often you see 4 free Swans players inside 50. So I looked inside, I'm like, right, I'll hit one of them. And they all didn't want the ball, they were all pointing to goal. And then I look forward to Macca's running out of the goal square going, hit me out in front. And then at the last moment, the thumb went out, and I just thought, oh, I'll have a ping for it. And yeah, one of the great, yeah, it was just great emotion. Like, it was just emotion. So that was just a special moment, and gave Reedy a good ride too in front of the members. So that was something I'll never forget.
On the topic of special moments, Smooch, you weren't playing that day, but to be chaired off and be part of this celebration that was finals-like in the festivity post the game, how was that for you to be able to kind of, I guess, be a part of that and get that celebration and that goodbye?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable day for me, even though I didn't play. I reckon Macca and Kiz's goals, I've actually never cheered harder for a goal playing, I reckon. It was so good to see them do so well. Bud's 300th. It was a really big day for the footy club, I reckon. Bit of closure for a bit of an era, I reckon, but an opening of a new one. And, you know, Kiz spoke about it before, is everyone finishes. Like, no matter who you are, you're going to finish your career. And it's about actually making your time count, play. And coming off with these guys, you know, we played a lot of footy together. We look each other in the eye and know, like, we gave it everything, I reckon. And we could honestly, that's my most cherished memory, I reckon. Knowing that, you know, we'd walk out the race together, and I'm playing on the back pocket against some of the best players, but I know these guys are going to try their guts out. And yeah, to go off all together that day was really special. It was.
Kiz or Macca, anything you'd like to add about that?
Oh, I probably just want to say that I completely echo Smooch, but the crowd that stuck around after the game, you know, we took our time actually figuring out what we were going to do, but for 20 minutes afterwards, the crowd was still there, and it meant a lot to all of us. So probably on behalf of us, just thank you to the Swans crowd that were there and have been there for our whole journey, and will be there for the future. It meant a whole heap to us.
Before I wrap this up, I just want to turn your attention one last time to the big screen. We've got a special message.
Firstly, let me say congratulations to Nick, to Heath, to Kieran, and also to Jared. A fabulous career. A footy club that's famous for its character, and for you 4, just the resilience. 163 games the 4 of you played together, including one at the MCG in 2012, one that was unforgettable. And I talked about resilience. Heath, in a 10-year period, played more games than anyone else in the competition. Kieran played the number 5 in terms of games in the competition. For 8 straight years, Nick played at least 20. And Jared, for all those incredible highs and unbelievable lows in your life, 325 to match Jude. Great careers. The ultimate, a premiership, and all the accolades that go with them. So, a hearty congratulations. And just finally, I'll put my racing hat on for a sec. So McVeigh, number 5 draft pick, he would have come from the Magic Million sale, wouldn't he? And he would have been a big price. But those other 3 Brumbies, eh? Those rookie list blokes, Heath and also Nick and Kieran, boy, oh boy, it would have been Tamworth and not much money. But you know, in the end, all great stars. From Pennant Hills, 2 of them, from Ashburton and from Modbury. That's what footy and life's all about. Well done.
Now, I've had a bit of fun with you here tonight, but as a teammate and now a fan, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done and given to the club. And like I said at the beginning, it was a privilege to play alongside you all. Before I wrap it up, I'd like to invite Andrew Pridham to the stage, who's just going to say a few words.
Do you know you're doing this, Andrew?
No, I think I'm just presenting something. I was going to say, Ted, that was terrible. No, thank you. And we've got a presentation for the three players. It's not money for the first time in their careers, but...
I don't want to take your job, Craig, but could you please put your hands together for Kieran Jack, Jared McVeigh and Nick Smith?